Still looking at me.
And what's up, Mighty Gang? How you doing? It's your boy, the Multitasker, and welcome back to another reaction video. Now, before we begin, let me give you a little heads up. If you didn't cut on the speed recently, this past weekend, Saturday, we just hit 400 subscribes. So, how you like that? We finally made it to that goal. So, hallelujah. Look, for real, I can't tell you how the stress of trying to make that goal it's been pretty slow, and we were this close. If it would have been just one or even two, I would accept that. But we finally did it, so we nailed it. So that was considered as a pat on the shoulder. So we finally did it. So nicely done. So since the holidays is around the corner, and of course with Thanksgiving and Black Friday, I'm not really looking forward to it, but I don't feel like I want to shop. But also Christmas as well. So if possible for next year, and I mean by if, let's see if we could try to reach the 500 subscribe, and that would be the next goal. So spread the word, because this is what I like to do. I mean, that's why I've been calling myself as a multitasker, because if you have any requested videos or recommended videos that you want me to react, that's what I'm here for. This is what entertainment is all about. It could be either a music video or a lyric video, a game trailer, movie trailer, anime trailer. This is where I do this on this channel. This is my secondary job. So let's see if we can spread that word. Anyways, I am going to be reacting to a very interesting an interesting clip that a good friend of mine, Storm Shadow, that he wants me to react, and the title is called VFX Artist Reacts to Bad and Great CGI number 12. So basically, we got three specialists that is going to be reacting to three things, or even more per se, of some of the highlights from TVs and movies, that some of how the producers that use a proper way with the CG, and some, well, in the words of what were they thinking, probably needed homework. So that is the kind of the bad use of CG. So I haven't seen this before, so maybe this could be interesting to watch. So without further ado, it's time to react.
Thank you to ExpressVPN for sponsoring today's episode. Stay tuned to the end to learn how you can get your first 3 months free.
Welcome back to another wonderful episode of VFX Artists React. What are we talking about today, Nico?
Today we're going to talk about some really cool stuff, such as how do you make CG look real? Also, why does that CG look so bad? All right, let's jump in.
You cannot run, human.
Oh, is this the Supergirl clip? Yeah. I haven't seen it yet.
You've never seen Supergirl, dude? Come on.
You just spoiled
If that's how you
yourself.
introed, if that's how you introed, not bad, not bad. Whoa.
Ooh. Wait, is that digital? Like, is that a...
But
CG head?
why are you trying to do CG heads? That's the
movie
hardest thing.
is just
Oh,
ugly.
Supergirl was the construction worker the whole time.
Hit the wall. This is just bad filmmaking. Oh! Limited budget, guys. Limited budget.
Don't be so sure.
This definitely looks like amateur After Effects.
Well, they're biting off more than they can chew, first off. A full CG head that talks with the lips, you're biting off a lot there.
By the way, I think they used the same shot twice here.
I don't
go
like
back
it.
a little bit further before the woman just randomly transforms. So that reaction.
Come to
That reaction. Yeah, they're hiding it by doing a push zoom on one of them. There it
They're
is.
doing both.
That's just like classic bad physics that you sometimes get when trying to do it real like that. It's like she punches him hard enough for him to fly 20 feet over to a wall,
Slowly.
and yet it takes him like an hour to get there.
Also, that shot of them on the glass, like that just looks rough.
Just looks like blue Swiss cheese. How would we have done that differently?
Bloom.
Yeah.
So the blue glows.
Yeah.
Like there's no blue on the actors. Like there's no like blue light really being cast on them.
Particles are the thing that I would want to add here. You could even drop in like literally a fire embers element and just color it blue and just have like a little.
That would work.
Asian plate?
Look at that muzzle flash. I'm all for acknowledging, short time, crappy decisions from the producer and stuff like that. I can't excuse bad muzzle flashes.
It's got like the M4 muzzle flash on the front where the gas expands out the side of the muzzle brake.
And it's like really tiny.
It looks ridiculous. Dude, that.
What the?
She's clearly just jumping onto like a crash pad in front of a green screen, and they're just taking her and keep framing her out to the left.
You can see her hair
looked
go
like
straight
someone
up.
just put
Yeah, and
ropes
she accelerates
on
sideways.
her.
I would
and
have just not had her accelerate. I would have just let her
yank it.
continue diving, cut, and then
Kinda
next shot
almost
she's
like
spinning around. Now
You're so
eye
right.
blasting.
Don't
Why
accelerate.
even-
Yeah,
yeah.
don't accelerate.
And honestly, the director of the show shouldn't have shot this like this at all
That's
to begin
terrible.
with. Every single VFX shot is locked off. They're going with like the easiest way they could approach these shots, but it's really just making them look really bad because they have nothing covering up your weaknesses. It's like this shot of her close up like that.
That's a sweet
works
shot
way
right
better.
there.
Yeah.
This might have been the case where it's like, I've heard that VFX shots need to be locked off when you shoot them. If it's not locked off, it's going to be way more expensive and take a lot more time, is probably what they're thinking.
I think you're totally right. I know people who work on shows like this, and it's usually just like literally the tiniest team. It was probably legitimately one person who probably worked on this whole thing in probably 2 or 3 days.
Take it to see Mr.
It's likely that it's a yes.
Okay, next piece, we're gonna look at the Titanic going down in the ocean.
Why they turning?
Iceberg straight ahead. Iceberg straight ahead.
Iceberg! Straight ahead, laddie!
So this entire
Why?
scene is CG, by the way.
No, it's not.
The only CG in Titanic is the water and the occasional extra people on set.
Okay.
And the sky, like the stars.
Dude, that's awesome. Those practical effects are great.
There's already crazy things happening all over the place. Like, for example, that shot of the iceberg passing by the boat. You'll notice there, none of the ice that lands on the boat comes from the iceberg. It's all poured off the side there.
It
Is
looks
it really?
legit. It
Yeah.
looks super legit.
Everything is real there except for the iceberg in the sky. Because that iceberg is actually a miniature that's been filmed separately.
It looks flawless. The practical ice bends the ladder. It really brings everything together.
Yeah.
So how do you do this shot? Take note, you exist in an era where the only CG, the only fully rendered images you can do is of maybe some extras walking around.
All right, so they're real, and the edge of the ship that they're touching is real.
Yeah.
The ship extending into the background,
I imagine it was probably an actual like filmed miniature.
It is miniature. And they're filming this scene with a motion-controlled camera.
Yes.
And they're doing the shot again with the motion scaled down for the miniature. And this stuff is all over the place. They would actually film the shot in real life with the person on set with a motion-controlled rig, and then scale down that motion and film that same motion again on the miniature and just stick the two on top of each other. So the actual visual effects part, the actual compositing, is really easy.
Yeah.
It's a green screen key, set your footage on top of the other one, and all the other work is done for you. The crazy thing for Titanic is they built a set that was basically the full-size set of the ship. There's only one side of it. The other side is all just scaffolding. This is the actual set right there, which they built to be able to slightly angle into the water.
Oh.
what?
Yeah,
What?
this is the real deal.
That's real. That's real.
Yes. It's
What was the
real.
budget on this movie?
100%.
$200 million, which is the biggest budget back in the day. So there's an interesting problem they had to solve with Titanic. With all your miniatures going into the water, you get to start reading the scale of the water. We all kind of know how big waves are and how big water
Right,
droplets are.
okay.
Yeah.
They actually needed really, really, really big miniatures to actually sink into the water and have it look correct. So they had a miniature as big as 1/6.
Wow.
I think they go down to like 1/30th, if I'm not mistaken. So this is a shot where he's on a green screen. We are looking at a miniature.
Because we can see the front of the ship?
Because we can see the front ship and also all the water work. And the reason it looks so real is because it is real. It's just a miniature. If that right there, that's a full-size set that they're sinking into the tank.
This is inspiring watching this, man.
It's
This
very-
kind of movie wouldn't get
very
made anymore.
creative and
The fact that they're
ingenious.
doing so much of this stuff practically.
Another crazy model shot right here. This is all model. The whole thing. They actually had to do this twice. They did it once. They rebuilt it over 2 weeks and then did it again.
Wow.
All those people, fake.
Dude.
All those people in the water, fake. This is one of the first movies they had with motion capture extras. And they went out and they would do mocap sessions. All the basic stuff we take for granted that's like for free to grab online today didn't exist back then. And they had to go and they had to capture all of it. And they'd stick all those little 3D people all over the deck of the ship. The visual effects in Titanic are really not that complicated. The magic in Titanic is them going out and getting the hundreds of people in the water in full costume and getting the full model of the ship and sinking it in the water tank. Like, that's the hard stuff. And that's the stuff these days that they don't do anymore because all that hard stuff is now done with CG.
But that's tough, man, because this definitely has a sense of realism that you don't get with CG. This one's for James Cameron.
So it's a tool, okay. 17, is that what it says?
Oh, this video looks familiar.
I know this footage all too well.
Are you sure that's not real?
Well, we are. Joe Rogan's not.
Joe Rogan thought that was real.
Oh.
Did we pull Joe Rogan? But dude, to have Neil Blomkamp, Joe Rogan, and Hideo Kojima all see this video, I can die peacefully now.
It's a more ambitious version of the previous Boss Dynamics video we put out back in June. Hi.
We wanted everything to be as real as possible. You know, like the whole thing about this, it doesn't work if it doesn't look and feel 100% real.
So go check it out on the Corridor channel if you haven't already. We have lots of cool shorts like this one, usually visual effects based. Hence why we're here doing Visual Effects Artist React.
There's also a side-by-side
Please
comparison
go to
of both
their
before and
channel
after
and
of this video. So you see
like and
Clint in his suit
subscribe and
and his
also
chrome
give
ball
support.
helmet,
Getting
and then the
hit
final
and
robot.
beat up.
So go check it out. We'll have a link somewhere.
I tried to help you walk away.
Oh,
you're making me do
snap. And I still have my movie.
Wow, dude, this is nuts.
So I was really surprised to find out that this scene, the whole scene, is all CG.
Yep.
100% CG.
100%.
And now all your friends have to die.
Whoa, I thought he was in a motion tracking suit.
He is. Okay,
Wait,
that's
whoa,
the thing.
whoa.
What?
Yes.
Okay, what? Quentin Beck is Mysterio. In the comics, he is a VFX artist.
What?
Yeah. As an homage to
And
that,
also
he actually is
slash
wearing a
stuntman.
real ILM like motion capturing suit. Like as his on-screen costume is an actual real mocap suit.
Yes, it is a real mocap suit. They continue to let Jake wear that
So
suit.
Spider-Man Far From Home is one of our
during this
most
film.
requested reactions. And if you guys have
That
any of the
is-
movies, TV shows, etc., you'd like to see us react to, please leave a
I'll shut
comment
up.
below. It's great inspiration for us.
So if you are the VFX artist who worked on this shot, this sequence would be your VFX reel, right?
Yes.
I mean, this was probably the coolest moment of the entire movie. It was a company called Frame Store.
So in order to break down this sequence, there's actually not a lot to break down. It's all CG. And yeah, there's some different techniques going in. But this is where I would like to actually take a moment and delve into what makes this CG look real. How do you take a sphere sitting on a plane, and how do you bring it up to this level where it looks like a sphere that could be sitting in this world?
Well, the first thing you got to do is set up your lighting.
I would grab an HDRI, high dynamic range image.
An HDRI is a 360-degree photo of a real environment, so you're getting real light samples.
The HDR provides both the color of the lighting and the direction of that lighting and the intensity of that lighting from every possible direction.
So the next thing we want to do this sphere is we'd want to give the surface some color.
The first thing after you actually identify the colors, you actually have to give it physical texture. How do the grooves reflect light in different directions? So for that, we'll use what's called like a bump map or a normal map. And that'll actually tell the
so that's
render
what it is,
engine
a
the
bump
sort
map.
of terrain that sort of object will have. So like a wooden sphere will have like little grooves between each of the wooden slats.
And that's like the micro detail that would be way too hard to go in and do by hand.
So from there, I determine what is reflective and what absorbs light completely. Just like all these other maps that we're listing off, this would be a black and white map. Whatever's black is 100% reflective. Whatever's white is not reflective at all. And there's a lot of gray in between there.
Technically, every surface around you is reflective, even the ones that seem rough. The only difference between that and a mirror, for example, is that a mirror is taking light rays and bouncing them off at sharp angles, whereas a rough surface takes light ray and scatters them in a bunch of different directions. And so having your color channel, good HDRI lighting or realistic lighting, a reflection map detailing how glossy something is, and normal maps / bump maps or even displacement maps to give a surface its microtextures, and then rendering all of that in a physically based rendering system using ray tracing and good simulation of light rays. Just from a pure rendering perspective, that's how you make something look real, and that's like the foundation of what's going on in these scenes for Spider-Man. The systems that let you do all that in just one go and have everything work are only a few years old. And that's why you're kind of seeing these movies just starting to hit these photoreal edges that they're getting to. I think 2019 marks the year where CG has crossed the line into photorealism and we cannot tell the difference. Sam's doing cool blood sim over there. It's pretty amazing. We're looking the wrong way because Sam's working on something right now. We're doing Star Wars rated R, specifically the Order 66.
Execute Order 66.
So expect that video very soon.
Subscribe. To not miss it.
But, you know, I go to sleep every night wondering the age-old question: who the heck framed Roger Rabbit?
In other words, damn time,
Oh, I remember this movie.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit
I
was
was little.
groundbreaking in that it was
I've
the
seen
first
it at the
movie
daycare
not to incorporate
center.
cartoons into live action. It was the first movie to do it with camera motion. The camera is all over the place, panning around, doing crazy moves, and interacting with people all over the place. Notice the serving trays are real, by the way. In fact, lots of the cartoons are holding real things. Real pianos.
Real chair.
Yeah.
And the first time ever, Donald and Daffy on screen at the same time. In order to blend these worlds, it was this insistence on characters interacting with real objects.
Scotch on the rocks.
How did they film those like real serving platters, but with cartoons there?
I know the answer to that question.
Well, tell me the answer,
How?
Nico.
You guys
I
want to know
wanna
the
hear it.
answer?
I'd
Is
be
it
kind
like
of curious
a
myself.
skinny stick off frame that they're moving it around with?
Clint's pretty close. This whole set is built raised off the floor. And underneath it are people with sticks with the serving trays on them walking along. And the
so that's
sticks are
how
just
that
through little
works.
grooves. And they're puppeteering it from beneath the set.
Oh, okay. And they're not painting out the sticks; they're just covering up the sticks
Covering
with
it
the
up.
cartoons.
Okay.
Drive.
But I want to drive.
No, I'll
But
drive.
how
I'm
does
the
the
dad.
out in the daytime? How's that possible?
So here, cartoon car, right? How
Oh,
are
boy.
they doing this?
Oh, he's sitting on something. That steering wheel wasn't even attached to anything.
I mean, he's definitely on some sort of little buggy.
He is actually in what's basically a little like ATV that they like rigged up.
Oh.
There's actually a stunt
Okay.
driver sitting in the back of it doing all the driving.
Okay.
He's just holding on for dear life,
Oh.
trying not to get thrown off.
He's
of
getting
it.
thrown, dude.
Yeah.
Oh,
Once again, there's
poor
little touches
Bob.
everywhere, from the newspapers being like kicked up
He would
to
fall
like the
bust
dust
his
from the
ass.
brakes of the car.
Yeah.
Like they go the extra mile to try to always incorporate these cartoon objects into real life by having them interact with something real.
Okay, wise guy. Where's the rabbit?
Haven't seen it.
All right, so here's a great example of all the things coming together. The chair move, cartoon just moved the chair. The real gun, by the way, the cartoon is
what?
holding. That's
How
not a
are they
cartoon
holding
gun.
that gun? Is it
gotta be
another
real,
gun on a
isn't it?
stick? Is it a gun on a stick?
It's actually a puppeteer above with a gun on wires, just puppeteering it along and
Nope,
mimicking
that
all the
answers
bouncing.
my
That's a gun on
question.
a stick right there, by the way,
Yeah,
so they can
that's
push it
so
into his
cool.
face. That little shadow on his hip, I think, is the armature for the gun. Boop. See as it rises up, gun stuff happens, and then the water spraying out of Roger Rabbit's mouth. So that's a little tube coming up that he's pretending to push down that has a little hose on it. Watch the
The
handcuffs
stick.
on Bob Hoskins' wrist.
So they're stiff.
They're stiff, and it's actually Bob Hoskins doing the puppeteering himself with his wrist.
Oh.
Every shot has a real element to it. Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
The compositing here, this
That
isn't
is cool.
computer compositing where you're just taking the layers and adding them in your computer.
Oh, yeah.
They're literally
What
taking
about
the
layer?
background film and the hand-drawn film
Wow.
and taking both those and shining light through that onto another pice of film to
Yeah.
get the final exposure.
Oh, dang.
So cool.
Leave a comment down below suggesting what we should look at next and maybe rip a new one.
Is that a butt
What I was trying to
reference?
say is
What?
that you guys should leave a comment for any TV shows or movies that you want us to react to, both good and bad. It's great inspiration for us. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, by the way, because we have a lot more cool stuff
Yes.
coming out.
Please do that for them.
Wow.
You
Anyway,
blew that at me.
Hi, my name's Sam Gorski, co-founder of Corridor Digital. I'm here today to tell you about a word from one of our sponsors, ExpressVPN. They help make these videos possible. What is
Okay.
ExpressVPN, you might ask?
So, there you have it, folks. That was the VFX artist specialist who basically reacts of some of the good films from Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Spider-Man Far From Home, Titanic, and one bad episode from Supergirl explained how to utilize and done perfectly with CG to big screens. And I will say to this, I'm just so happy to believe that it's one of the reasons why I enjoyed the Spider-Man films. And more specifically, now I know some secrets that how that actually work. That's, you know, with all the cartoon characters are done with puppeteering, sticks, and it's just professionally. So yeah, this clip is very interesting. So Shadow, thank you for this wonderful of this clip. So this is where I'm gonna end this video. So drop a like and leave a comments down below. But seriously though, just go to the corridor, to the channel, and click and subscribe and give support. And with that, Mighty Adventure signing out. But I will catch you all in the next video. So peace out, everyone, and good night.